Hi, welcome back to Max Nafe Horsemanship and Baby Steps. Should maybe call this Max Nafe Horsemanship in a snowbank. Well, since we were out here yesterday, we kind of ripped it up a little bit. It's a little bit better in some respects, but still pretty lumpy and yeah, it's not great. You know, we got problems here, but that's okay. We'll deal with them, and we're going to do whatever we can in spite of the situation. Now, one of the things I'm probably going to do today is pick up her front feet. And who knows, if she's really good with that, maybe I'll pick up back ones too. We'll see. I haven't done them yet. Front ones I have picked up. You saw that in a recent video. And, well, I think we need to do that again. Maybe a few more times. We'll see. It depends how fast she gets good at this stuff. But that'll be one of many things I'm going to work on today. A lot of it's going to be repetition, stuff we've done before. And, you know, I've shown you before, and we're just going to keep doing it over and over and over and over, because that's what training's all about, is repetitions. You know, it's just like a weightlifter. What do? Reps. You know, people that work out, physical activities. You know, how many laps of the track does a runner do? You know, it's all conditioning, it's all training. Well, that's what this is, training, and training involves a lot of repetitions. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to repeat ourselves an awful lot. And, well, I know that for the most part, you probably aren't going to want to watch that stuff, but I'm going to bring you along for a little bit of it, and, well, because just to get you the idea that no matter what, you got to do this stuff over and over. And no matter how good your horse gets, it doesn't hurt, even if it's not really necessary, it doesn't hurt to do this stuff again, you know, so that it's not just something that gets done. Well, for example, with a trim, they get the feet picked up once every, say, 8 weeks is the cycle a lot of people use. So, well, why not pick them up daily? So that when that 6 weeks comes around, the farrier is going to be real happy with you, okay? Well, that's just an example of one of the things that, you know, in the real world you probably wouldn't do very often, but it's something that you should be doing on a regular basis. And, well, if you have a horse, you're probably going to want to clean its feet, check its feet. You know, even if they don't really need cleaning all that bad, it doesn't hurt to be cleaning them out just so you can check the condition of them, because that's part of your responsibility as a horse owner, is to look after the animal. And does it absolutely have to be done daily? Well, maybe not, but it certainly can't hurt. You know, you can do that stuff daily. Pick up the feet, clean the feet, horse gets used to its feet being handled, and you have a constant daily monitor of the condition of its feet. So, that is one of the things that we're going to work on today, is just picking up her feet. And, well, who knows? I haven't got an agenda. I never do when I come out here. I just kind of go with whatever happens to what I feel like doing, or what the horse inspires me to do, depending on its behavior. Today, again, it wasn't leading real good, so I might have to work on that a little bit. Again, you know, it's like I said, nothing's ever fixed in one session. You know, it takes many times, and consistency, doing it every time. Unfortunately, I didn't have the tool with me I needed when she wasn't leading well. And, oh yeah, she didn't halter well today. She's been very good lately, but today, when I held the halter up, she turned her head away. You know, she didn't go anywhere, but she turned her head away. So I did exactly what I showed you in our previous video, where I just held it up in front of her nose, went with her until she brought her head back, and then I made it go away. And we did that several times until when I brought the halter up, she didn't turn her head away, then I put it on. So I maybe should have done it a couple more times, but it seemed like, you know, we got what we wanted. We got her to hold her head still, not turn away. So that's one of those things that, you know, she was good for days. All of a sudden that problem popped up again. So we'll deal with it. And that's kind of how things go. You deal with them as they occur. And, you know, that's one of those things that, you know, it's never wasted time. You know, when you're with your horse, everything you do, you know, for example, putting the halter on, well, presented a problem, so putting a halter on, although it seemed like a pretty minor thing, it presented an opportunity to work on that. So that's exactly what we did, is we worked on that, and she got much better. And if you watched all the videos, you saw how we did that in the beginning there, where she'd turn her head away, and I just, when she brought her head back, I'd take the halter away. So when she does the right thing, the halter goes away. That's what you want. And so that's exactly what I did. I just did that 10 minutes ago or whatever, out in the pasture when I went to go get her because I wanted to put the halter on and she didn't really want me to. So that's what we did. And of course, once we get in here, we take the halter off as soon as we get here. And as you can see, if she's in view of the camera, she's over there on her salt lick, enjoying that thing. I think one of these days I might throw it out on the other side of the fence because I'm getting tired of that being a distraction, but she seems to like it, so it kind of makes the round pen a good place because when she comes in here, there's a salt lick and she likes that thing, so maybe I'll just leave it here. It's not that big of a deal because if I'm really into something and I want her to pay attention, she will. She'll leave that thing alone. And you've seen it because you've seen how much she focuses on me. And that thing has always been here. Every time she comes in here, that salt lick is there. So it's not like it's an occasional thing. And most of the time she pays attention to me. So the fact that it's here and she likes it, maybe it's not really that bad of a thing. These are, the kind of things that you need to consider when you're working with your horse, because distractions can be a bit of a problem, but in the more advanced stages, I actually like distractions, and I used to do a lot of training in an indoor arena. There was actually a round pen there too, but I preferred using the arena. It's a little bigger area, but I used it much the same as a round pen. It's confined space, that's all it was to me. And I like doing a lot of work off lead, so I'd be working with my horses. Somebody'd come in, want to do some riding in the arena, and they go, well, is it okay? And I'm like, sure, come on in. She goes, well, I don't want to be a distraction. I say, hey, if you're a distraction, that's great. I like distractions because that encourages the horse to focus on me in spite of whatever else is going on around it, including somebody else riding their horse. Another horse, another human. If it is a distraction to that horse, I want it because then I can work on it. It's like I said before, you can't fix it if it ain't broke. So it's one of those things. The distractions are a good thing. It's just like, working outside where there's other animals, vehicles driving around, that sort of thing. All stuff that the horse eventually needs to get used to anyhow. So it's really not a problem. A lot of people are like, shh, don't upset the horse. You can't distract the horse. No, make all the noise you want. Because otherwise you'll always have to pussyfoot around the horse, and the horse will never, ever get used to doing what you want it to do in a, shall we say, a confusing environment where there's activity and noise and that sort of thing. Well, we don't want that. We want the horse to be on the ball, paying attention, and following our cues at all times, regardless of what else is going on. So if other things are going on, great. I don't mind. And in the advanced stages, I would encourage it. Right now, at the stage we're at right now, it's actually best we don't have too many distractions. A few, I don't mind, but it makes life a lot easier for me and less confusing for the horse if there aren't any. So we like to work with minimal distractions, we'll say. Minimal. I won't say don't have any at all. Like I said, there's one right now and she kind of likes it, so. But when it comes to the crunch, if I want her to pay attention to me, she pays attention to me, and that's what's important. She's paying attention to me. She's not paying attention to that salt lick, but she really likes that thing. Every time she comes in here, she goes straight for it. So it's not a bad thing, and it makes this a good place. So I'm going to go put the halter back on her again, see how she does this time, and then proceed with picking up her feet and see how good she is with that. And who knows, if things go well, you might get to see me pick up her back feet today. You never know. All depends how good she is with the front ones. We've only done them a couple times, but the last time she did quite well. So I'm thinking that there's a good possibility that if she does exceptionally well, that we might be able to pick up the back ones. On the other hand, it might be smart and safe not to. Not yet. I think she's pretty darn close because even recently when I was using my flag, I had it touching all over her back legs. She wasn't reacting to that. So I think that was a good indicator that it might be safe to pick up those back ones now, because that's what it's all about. And that's why I do things the way I do them. It's all about safety one way or another. And, going straight for the back ones, they have a much wider range of directions they can kick, and they can be much more dangerous. That's why I start with the front ones, because they can generally only swing one direction. And as long as you're not standing right in front of the horse, you're pretty safe. The horse might fuss and fidget and everything else. That's okay. I don't care if it does. It's not going to hurt me any. And I know when to get out of the way and which direction to move and that sort of thing. So that's a pretty simple thing. And if she gets good enough with both front feet, with me handling them, then me handling feet is not a big deal. That's what we're going for. And I'm trying to explain to you what we're doing here so you understand what I'm doing, because I could just show you what I'm doing and it wouldn't make any sense to you. Go, well, what the heck did you do that for? Well, that's why I'm taking time to explain to you what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. Not just what, but the why. The what you can watch, you can just see the video and see what I'm doing. But if I don't explain the why, you aren't going to have a clue what the purpose is of what I'm doing. And go, well, that's stupid. That's a waste of time. No, it's not. Everything I do has a reason. Seriously, everything. I think. Yeah, pretty much. Everything I do has a reason. And I've even actually been accused, because I do a lot of liberty work with my horses, and I train them to do a lot of things off lead that most horses don't do. And I'm not near as good as some people, but I do a lot of stuff that somebody referred to it as circus tricks. And although most of the things that I do might come across that way if you aren't paying attention, but there is an underlying reason for what I'm doing. They aren't just circus tricks. Much of the liberty work I do is just an extension of good groundwork. It's just good groundwork without a lead rope on. No lead and halter. Same thing though. It's all the same stuff. There's only a couple little things that I do that you don't normally teach a horse, but they have their purposes too. And including things like backing into a trailer, which I might show you that one someday, because we haven't gotten to that point yet. Hopefully some of the snow is going to melt and we'll actually have access to the trailer so we can do some trailer loading. And when we get to that point, one of the many things I might actually do is teach her to back into the trailer. And there's a reason for that one too, although it seems totally weird and like, what's the point of having a horse back into a trailer? Because that's not how you load a horse, right? Well, there's a reason for it, and I'll explain it when I get to it. But please trust me, everything that you have seen me do so far, there's a reason for it. It all has a purpose. Sometimes it seems a little odd. Quite often it seems pretty odd, some of the stuff I do. Sometimes I think it's a little weird, but no, there's a reason, honest. But I'm going to go get a horse and pick up feet, see what happens. Okay, we got our horse. We're going to do some stuff. I don't know what yet, but some stuff. But I'm going to talk about something I just talked about earlier. I talked about how she was a little bit of a problem with the halter, and I worked on that for just a couple minutes out in the pasture when I went to catch her. And this time, when I went to put the halter on, I didn't have a problem, because I spent a couple minutes dealing with it. And that's why no matter what you're doing with your horse, you can do it with quality and take advantage of the situation and make use of it to teach the horse something and see what happens. And, well, that's it. I spent a couple minutes in the pasture working on the halter, and now I had no problem putting a halter on. And ultimately, that is what you want. Now, on the subject of halter, I'm going to get in a little closer here, and I'm going to show you something that I do that not a lot of people do, but I think it's a good idea. Now, something that you will see here, you'll notice this tail. I call it the tail. I don't know what you want to call it, but this extra bit of rope after you do up the halter on her, it's exceptionally long because this halter is too big for her. But something I always do, even with bigger horses, is I take it and I just, from behind, I tuck it in and just bring it down. And that keeps it from flapping around. So there's less chance of that thing flipping around and hitting her in the eye or anything like that and startling her and getting her upset. And it's just something that I've always done. I'm doing this for years. It's not something that somebody necessarily taught me or anything like that. It just makes sense. And another thing I'll mention too on the same theme is I've seen people tie this knot up here so that instead of the rope going backwards like you see mine is, they have it coming forward because you can go around either way. And when it comes forward, if it's not tucked in, it's definitely going to be near the horse's eye. And that's a real bad idea. And I saw one time and it was bugging me, and I untied it and retied it the way I do, so it was away from the horse's eye. The owner got a little annoyed with me because I corrected the way they tied it, and but that was, you know, A, I shouldn't have done that, but B, that was kind of their problem, that it bothered them that I did that, because they didn't like to admit that they'd done something wrong. It's a little thing, it's not a huge thing, but it's just one of those things. If you're always in the habit of making sure the tail goes back, not forward, it's better. And if you got an exceptionally long tail and that varies from halter to halter and the size of the horse, etc., there's a lot of variables, always tuck it in like this so it's down out of the way. It's not flapping around, and it's not going to be a distraction to the horse when you're working with it, okay? Okay, we're at a distance, but that's so you can see right down to the ground and what I'm doing. And I said I was going to maybe work with her feet a little today, see what happens. That's exactly what I'm going to do, and that's why I'm back this far, so you get a good view of what I'm doing. Although I might actually be in the way a little bit for this. I apologize in advance for that. But what I'm going to do is, first off, like I've said before, when you're working with the feet, stay off to the side about 90 degrees out, and that's much safer. She can't kick this direction, and I'm going to keep the lead short enough that we don't have a risk of her moving enough that she can get a shot at me. We don't want that. And now that I'm in position and I've got her on the lead at the appropriate length that I want, and I'm not going to say an exact length you should have here. This is going to vary a little. Depends how long your arms are, depends on the halter, a lot of things. But you do want to have some control over the horse so that you don't run into problems. Now, last time I picked up her front feet, she was remarkably good. We've worked with her a lot since, just doing little stuff. I haven't actually picked up the feet since the last time you saw it. You know that? Yeah, that first time, the very first time I picked up her front feet, you saw it, and I haven't done it since. But we're going to do it today. We may or may not pick up the back ones. I don't know. That all depends on how she is with the front ones. I don't know how this is going to go. But I do know that we need to do this a few times. And so I'm not going to go to the back feet yet until we do the front ones a couple more times. But now it's a little tricky because it depends which hand you want to use to pick up the hoof. I prefer the one that's closest to the horse, which unfortunately means I got to use the other hand for the lead. Or both hands, or one hand does two things. It's confusing. Okay, I don't have an ideal solution to my problem here. All right, but we're going to do what we can. Now I'm going to get fairly close to the horse, but I've got to be careful I don't get too close because I don't want to get stepped on, because that almost happened the last time. Now I'm just going to slowly, now this is something else too that I do that other people, I've actually heard guys say don't do this. But what I like to do is I put my hand on the horse, I start off fairly high, and I slowly slide my hand down the leg. That way there's no surprise. The horse knows you're coming. It's not going to all of a sudden be surprised. Someone touched my foot, and kick out before it realizes it's you. You don't want that. You want the horse to know it's you and that you're coming. And so that's why I always start off up fairly high and slowly slide my hand down. And this applies to the back too, because they can be really touchy with the back ones. And you don't want to ever surprise them there, because that can get you hurt bad. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to start off, I'm going to turn around the other way, because this is the way I like doing things. I like facing the back of the horse. And I'm going to switch my lead to my other hand. I'm not going to get too close to the horse because I don't want to get stepped on, but I got to try and keep just the right amount of lead. And then I'm going to put my hand on her shoulder, slowly slide down her leg, and let's see what happens. And we get down there and we ask her for a foot. Good girl. Very good. Fussed just the tiniest little bit. Wow, that was very good. We might just do the back ones yet today. Who knows? I think that'd be a silly thing to do, but I do also do my own trims too, so I've already talked to the owner, and I says, because trimming and training sometimes work best if you do the two at the same time, and most farriers don't want nothing to do with that. And so I actually volunteered to trim this one because I'm also training her, and I thought, I know what her boundaries are and what her limitations are. I don't want her to get her too excited, so I thought it would actually be best if I do it, because I would know just how green she is and what she's like with her feet and everything. If somebody is totally strange to the horse and the horse is strange to them, if they come to do the trim, it could cause problems, and it could actually make things go backwards, and then it could be a safety issue for them. If they don't do it right, they might get hurt. Don't want that either. So I volunteered to trim, so chances are when she gets good with her feet, guess who's going to be trimming her? Yep, me. Silly me. Okay, now again, I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to switch the lead to my other hand. So, and the hand that's closest to the horse, I'm going to start on the shoulder, go down slow, and gradually. Oh, she's not bothering at all. She doesn't want to give me the foot, though. There we go. Good girl. Oh, and not fussing at all. Okay. Oh, no, a little bit there. Easy, girl. Easy. There we go. Good girl. That's a good little horse. Yeah. Well, you know, I'm feeling kind of brave today. I think I'm going to pick up the back ones. I don't know how well this is going to work, though, because this is really dicey, but I'm going to try. And, yeah, I hope it works. And I'm going to do it as safe as possible. Now, one of the things I'm going to do is I am going to keep her, I'm keeping her on lead, and I'm going to keep that lead short enough. It's going to be long enough that I can move to the back, but short enough that she can't get that back end over to me to kick me, in case she is inclined to do that. And I'm also going to stay as far forward as possible so that if she does kick out, she's not going to get me. She's going to miss, I hope. And I'm going to do just like I said before. I'm going to start off my hand on top of her. I'm going to run down her back, onto the rump, down the side, down the leg, getting there, getting there. Oh my goodness, we're touching the leg. And she let me have the leg. She let me have her foot. Oh my God. She let me have her back foot. That was beautiful. I don't, do I sound a little excited? You'd think I'd never done this before. I have, but it's still, whenever the horse does something good, I get excited. Because it's a positive thing. It really is. It's a wonderful thing when the horse makes this kind of progress, especially a little baby like this that don't know nothing. You know, she's trusting me enough now that I can now touch her leg, I can run my hand down her leg, and I can even pick up her feet. Now I'm going to do the other side. I mean, this is amazing. And again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to switch the lead to my opposite hand. So it's actually in the wrong hand, really, for some things. But I'm going to keep it short enough that she can't get me. And I'm going to stay as far forward as possible. I'm going to start with my hand on her, slowly run it down her leg, and let's see what happens. That leg's a little further back. Let's see if she shifts the weight to the other one. Yep, she's shifting weight now. And good girl. Okay, and we'll let her have it back. She picked it up off the ground. That's all I wanted. And that's something, you have to be progressive with things. And I've said before, you know, when you get what you want, even if it's only a tiny bit, that's okay. That's a good day. And in this case, she picked up her feet. Did I hold them as long as it would be necessary for a trim? No, absolutely not. Not even close. Couldn't even clean them in that length of time, much less trim them. But she let me pick them up. And that was what was important, and I let her have it back before she got uncomfortable with it. So she is learning that when I pick up a foot, it's not a bad thing. That, you know, hey, nothing bad happens. I'm going to get it back, give it back to her eventually. And as I do this over and over and over, because you're going to have to do it like everything, over and over and over. And when you pick up the foot, hold it for just a tiny bit longer each time. And if the horse starts to fuss, don't let it go. Hang on to it. That way it doesn't learn that fussing and pulling gets its foot back. But as soon as it calms down and stops fussing, give it its foot back very quickly. So that, and this is where timing's pretty important, because sometimes they'll start fussing just as you go to let go. And it's really dicey sometimes. You can't always get it perfect. Don't get upset with yourself if you don't get this right. Trust me, it's not that easy. I have trouble with it too, okay? You know, this is not always simple stuff. We don't live in a perfect world. You know, things don't always work right. But that's what you're going to do, and you're going to do it many times over. And each time you pick up that foot, you know, 1 second longer, 2 seconds longer, maybe 5 seconds longer, as you progress. And eventually you can hold that hoof up for a minute. Eventually you can hold it up for 2 minutes. But it all starts off with just getting it off the ground. That's the beginning. And she is so good. I'm very happy about this. We've made great progress today. And I'm going to do those front ones one more time. Again, I think I'll just shorten this lead up a tiny bit. There we go. I'm at the side of the horse. My hand starts off on her shoulder, slides down the leg until we get to the foot. And, well, she picked it up, put it back there. Good girl. Yep, she definitely needs a trim. There we go. Okay, you can have your foot back now, dear. There you go. That was pretty good. She actually held it up there for a couple seconds without fussing. So already it's getting better. And we just started doing this, okay? Like I said, the other video, that was the very first time I ever picked up her feet. That's the only time I've done it until today. Now we're doing it again. And I am very happy with how she's doing. And we got her calmed down enough. That's why I didn't go for the feet right away. When I first started doing it with the stick, you saw me early on in one of the early videos. And I said, nope, we're not going to do that. Because she wasn't ready for it. Now she's ready for it. And that's just because we decided to forget about that stuff, do something different. And now we can do all kinds of stuff with her that we couldn't do before. That being one of them. And it's important because you have to be able to safely handle the legs. Because even if you're not trimming it, for example, if she was to get a cut on her leg or something that you need to address, you have to put a wrap on it or whatever, or just inspect it. You want to be able to pick that leg up without getting your head kicked off. And that's important. But doing it safely is also important. And that's why I'm telling you how to do this. Make sure that the lead length is very important so the horse can't get into a position where it can hurt you. Especially on one you don't know that well, or in this case, she's really green at this stuff. It's exceptionally important. On my own horse, I've done this so many times with her, I don't even put a halter on her when I'm trimming her. Well, depending where I am. If I'm out in the yard, I do, but I'll usually just take the rope and throw it over her back like that while I'm trimming her and go about my business. And when I'm done, I take the rope and I lead her back into the pasture and let her go. Same thing, it's no different. But like I said, the length you keep the rope at, your position, when you're doing the back one, stay back as far as you can safely and still reach. That's hard to do. Honestly, I'm not going to lie about that one. That's not an easy one. The right position there. It's tricky. It's not easy. You need really long arms. It's just, hey, this is the real world we're in, eh? But like I said, you got your lead length. You want to make sure the horse can't get into position to hurt you. Hand on it. Slide down slowly. Let it know you're coming. Don't surprise it, because a surprise can get you kicked. And on that same topic, something I have done a lot of is walking around behind horses. And a lot of people say, you're crazy, you're going to get hurt. You're lucky you don't get kicked. In fact, in one of my videos, I said, I've never been kicked at by a horse. I walk around behind them all the time. And somebody made a comment on one of the videos, well, yeah, you're going to get kicked. You're going to get kicked. I said, no, I'm not, because I do it right. And it's just like picking up the feet, no surprise. When I walk around the back of a horse, now I'd be hesitant to do it with this one because she's still extremely green. But I'll just slide my hand down the back, get to the rump, and keep my hand on there as I walk around the back. So the horse knows I'm there, because their instinct is to kick out at danger. And if something's behind them and they don't realize what it is right away, they're going to kick at it, which includes you. If you surprise that horse, if you walk around the back of the horse and it doesn't see you coming, all of a sudden there's something behind it, it doesn't realize it's you, it takes a kick at it. Well, they think their life's in danger. That's not such a bad thing, really. They're not being malicious. And quite often, once they realize who they kicked at, they're very remorseful. But, by simply letting the horse, they're there, those instincts don't kick in. They go, okay, Mom, Dad's there. They're walking around behind me. No, nothing to worry about. Especially if you never do anything bad behind them. If you're not hitting them on the butt or smacking them or whipping them or anything stupid like that. That's how you get kicked, is doing dumb stuff. or mistreating the horse in the first place. It might take advantage of that opportunity to give you one. And I've seen it happen, trust me. Well, not to a human, but one horse to another. They waited for the opportunity and, yeah, give it a good one. But anyhow, so your position, the length of lead you use, and let the horse know you're coming. Those are the keys. And each time you pick a foot up, a second or two longer, you'll have to do it quite a few times. You know, quite a few, honest. This is not going to get good overnight, believe me. I'm going to have to repeat this process many, many times before she's ready to get trimmed. She's at the point now where she's good enough that I'm not in danger when I pick her feet up, but I'm sure if I tried to hold a foot up for any great length of time, it could be a problem, and she might get a little upset about it. And that's where, you know, one of the things that people do is they tie horses while they're trimming, or they have somebody holding the lead. I don't recommend that. I think if that's necessary, you got other fish to fry. There's bigger problems to be addressed. And not so much holding the horse, but particularly the tying one, I really don't like that, because in my opinion, the stress levels in the horse go up the second it's tied, because all of a sudden you've taken away their ability to flee. So their life is in danger. And then on top of that, you're grabbing their legs. That's a bad combination, and it's a very good recipe for getting hurt. And I don't like seeing people get hurt. I just don't want to, because when people get hurt, they always blame the horse, because that's just kind of the way people are. They always want to blame something or someone else for the problems that they're having. And all too often, the horse gets blamed, and it is not the horse's fault. Never, ever is it the horse's fault. It is either the human did something stupid, or the horse was inadequately trained, and it's simply reacting to what it thinks is a life-threatening situation and doing what it thinks it needs to do to survive. That's it. That's all that's happening. Every single bad behavior in a horse is survival. It's doing it to stay alive. That's it. That's all it's doing. And that's why, and I've mentioned this before in other videos, is, you know, this is why to this day we have horses, because of their survival instincts. And no amount of training will make those go away, by the way. But if you do enough training, they learn to think, so they don't have to resort to their instincts before they think, most of the time. But that's, again, why I say, you know, if you do walk around behind a horse, make sure you keep your hand on it so it knows you're there. And that way there's no surprise. And I won't say it'll never happen, but far less chance you're going to get kicked walking around behind a horse if you let it know you're there. Let it know. You know, don't surprise it. Surprises always scare them. When they get scared, they think their life's in danger, and they do something to protect themselves, defend themselves. All they want to do is survive. They just want to stay alive. Remember that. You know, and they're going to kick out because they think you're a predator back there. There's something attacking them. You know, and the same reason they buck, if they're nervous and worried enough, that's their instinct. They buck to get predators off their back that are trying to kill them. Things that surprise them, they will attack or run away. Take your choice, depending on the situation. They might kick you, they might bite you, or they might run away. And these are all very, very natural things. And these are the things that this training is all about. This is what we're trying to, well, we can't, like I said, you can't make those things go away. But we can overcome them in a way that the horse feels comfortable enough. We've repeated things enough times that it goes, okay, I don't care what weird crap this dude does. It's going to be okay. I don't have to get excited about it. And that's how they'll react to things. That's what you want. You want them to think their way through a problem, not to just use their survival instincts and react to a problem, because that usually winds up dangerous. Every single bad thing that a horse does, actually they're not really bad. Not from a horse's mind. Nothing, well, okay, from a human perspective, absolutely everything bad that a horse does is just their instincts. It's their survival instincts, that's it. Whether they're bucking, biting, spooking, bolting, kicking, take your choice. Every single one of those so-called bad things are nothing more than the horse trying to stay alive. Because that's what it wants to do more than anything. And that's why it's very, very important to understand the brain of a horse and how it works, and I don't think anybody will ever do that completely. I can guarantee it. But you got to put yourself in the horse's shoes occasionally and consider how they perceive the world, because they don't see things the way we do. And when I say see, I don't mean just visual. Their sense of smell, the hearing, eyesight, all the stuff, some of it's actually much better than ours in different ways. It works very differently, and their brain perceives things quite differently. So you combine all these elements, and their view of the world is pretty different than ours. And you might see something that's nothing to worry about. What are you getting excited about? Well, that's not the way they see it. To them, it's life-threatening. And because they have these ridiculous reactions to things, that's why we still have horses. And that's why we have these beautiful little animals, because their silly, silly perception of things has kept them alive. And, well, we think it's silly, but it's not. Not to them. To them, it's 100% practical. It has kept them alive. And, well, I have two goals. One is to understand the horse and why it does the things it does, which is part of its instincts, survival, and that sort of thing. And, well, the other thing is I want to keep you safe. Well, horse too, actually. But safety, big deal. And that's why I emphasize when it comes to things like picking up the feet, your position, the length of lead, and not surprising the horse. 3 elements. And, don't hold the foot up any longer than necessary. If you get it off the ground, let go. Put it back down. First time. It comes off the ground, period. In this case, it's a little harder. I actually have harder time even getting down far enough to grab the foot itself, because if you look, you can see from the camera, in the case of her front ones, you can't even see the hooves, I'm sure, from that angle. Actually, I can barely see the hooves in there because it's way down in the snow there. It's hard to reach them. So we've got challenges there, and I would like to be able to grab a little further down. Picking the foot up itself, there's a number of tricks to that. I'm not even going to bother getting into right now. We've accomplished what we wanted. We got her to pick up her feet. And again, if they come off the ground, good. Each time you pick them up, keep them 1 or 2 seconds longer, and just keep repeating that process. If she starts to fuss, if your horse starts to fuss a little, don't give it back. Hang on to it until it stops fussing, then give it back. That way it learns that not fussing and pulling the foot away is the trick. That's what you're supposed to do. That's the right thing, because as soon as it behaves itself and calms down, you give it back to them right away. And if you just keep doing that, but extending that time you're holding it up by a couple seconds each time, eventually you're holding that thing up for a couple minutes and the horse doesn't care, because you've accomplished it. So, you know what? I'm not quite sure what else I'm going to do today, but I'm sure I'm going to do a few things. I brought my longer lead in too, because I was having some problems with some stuff I was doing yesterday. I'm going to work on that a little. Maybe I'll show that to you, because I don't think I have shown that to you yet. I've only worked on it a couple times very briefly. So maybe today would be a good opportunity. I'm going to show this stuff to you. One of the things you want that really helps is if you can get the horse to come to you with a command, if you can get your horse to step closer, that's something you want. Let's see if she does it today. Hey, come. Come. Come on. Okay. Guess what? Not working. So, we definitely need to work on that. And I'm going to show you how. Hang on a sec, I'm going to look at my other lead. I apologize for being so far away from the camera that you can't see real well what I'm doing, but I want to make sure I'm far enough back, because I can't see the monitor on that thing from this distance, certainly not with that much sun shining. It's pretty much a blank screen, even when I'm close to it. But I want to show you what I'm doing, and I want to be far enough away from the camera that we're in view. I know that I'm pretty much right in the center right now because of where the camera's pointed, but I'm going to be a little ways from the horse when I'm doing this. So I want to make sure that you get to see what I'm doing, okay? Now, this is how I do things. And how you might do it or other people do it might be a little bit different. I don't know. Some people don't even bother teaching this stuff. I think it's handy. It has lots of advantages. I've used it many times. And so I'm going to show you how to do it. Because I think it's one of those things that if you don't do this, it's okay. It's, you don't have to even do this. Like I said, some people don't do it. But I do, and it has practical uses. And, well, here's how I do it. Now, I have a couple ways of doing things. First off, the universal cluck for any kind of movement, particularly forward, is something I employ. I also have a gesture, just very simple hand gesture, like that. Come to me. And it's one I use all the time. And some horses, you don't even have to go through this. You do that and they'll come to you. I've had that happen on a few occasions. Doesn't work with this one. That's okay. I have other ways. So I use the word come. I use the hand gesture. I use a cluck. And if that doesn't work and she still doesn't move, I've got a lead rope, and I'm using my longer one because I'm going to get a little further away from her when I do this. And normally she leads not bad, so sometimes it's actually a bit of a problem getting her to stay there while I do this. So I'm not going to tug on this lead at all, but I want to get it straightened out so I can get a fair distance back. Well, that snow's deep there. Let's pack that down so I don't trip on it and hurt myself. Okay, I won't hurt myself in snow, but I might fall down and look stupid. We don't want to do that either. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say, well, it depends on which one you want to be able to employ too. Eventually I want to be able to just do this, but I generally do this and say come at the same time, and then I give a cluck. Come on. And if she doesn't come, I just put a tiny bit of pressure on the lead so that she gets the idea. And you see she's taking a step ahead. Come. She doesn't like the halter. She doesn't like that pressure. She's trying to avoid it. She does this quite a bit. Come. Good girl. And you'll notice as soon as she took a step forward, I slacked off the lead. The pressure went away, so that she gets the idea that moving forward is the right idea. Come. Now I'm going to have to kind of reel this in, so I have enough on it that I can pull when I have to, but at the moment I'm not going to. I'm going to use the come, the hand cue, a cluck. Come on. Come. And she's ignoring all of that, so I'm just going to put some pressure on the lead, and she'll take a step forward and I'll stop. Exact same thing, every time. Now, if she's moved in, rather than repositioning, I'm just going to reel in the rope a little bit, and I'll do the same thing all over. She's thinking about it, but yeah, one foot moved, come. But not responding the way I'd like, so I'm going to tighten up the lead, and there she goes. And as soon as she takes a step forward, I let the lead go. And I stop the cue and everything else. Eventually, I will continue cueing until she gets to where I want her. But at the moment, all I want her to get the idea is that she's supposed to come towards me. That's it. Simple as that. So if she only takes one step, that's okay. We'll take it. So now I'm going to shorten the lead up again so I can still use it. I'm going to do exactly the same thing again. Come. Come. There we go. Good girl. There we go. That's pretty good. I'm not going to complain about that. Is it ideal? No. But she's a baby. We've got to cut her some slack here. Now I'm going to pick up my lead and I'm going to back her up. Put her back where I want so I can do this again so that you can see it. I'm going to do this one more time. And you've seen me back her up before. Just take the halter, put a tiny bit of pressure back on it, and see how she backs up. Nice back. Not perfect, but not bad. Back. Now she's trying to move her back end over. I don't want her to, so I turned her head. There we go. Back. Good girl. Back. 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 Oh, she's actually being a little difficult about this. It's okay. Good thing we're doing it again. Back. Back. Oh, she's being very difficult today. There we go. I was actually putting pressure down and back on the halter at the same time. I actually had to use a fair bit to get her to do what I wanted to do. Very unusual. Usually she backs up much better than that. But that's why you have to keep doing things over and over. Because even though she did this excellent a couple other times, several other times actually, she's done it excellent. Today, no, she's not doing it good. And actually just, I think it was yesterday, she was kind of in my way in the pasture and I wanted her to back up and she wouldn't. And that wasn't good. I don't like that. So that's why you have to do things over and over and over. So I'm going to repeat exactly what I just did. Remember, this is just my way of doing it, and some people don't do it at all. And I have the verbal cue of come. I have the visual cue of the hand gesture. I have the audible cue of the cluck. Come. And if she doesn't respond to those, I put pressure on the lead. Now that wasn't very good. She only took one step, but you know what? She took one step. And I don't really want her to just come charging into me. So the fact that she only moves while I'm asking her to, that's really not that bad. Let's do this again. Come. Come. Come on, dear. Not very good at all. Come. Come. There you go. She's actually one of the worst ones I've ever seen do this. Most horses, there. Now she's responding without me pulling on the lead. Good. Beautiful. Beautiful. See? Can be done. Took a little bit, but we got there. I'm impressed. I'm happy. Well, rather than backing her up, I'm just going to turn her around. And you'll get to see us do this again. Oh, good girl. Now, drop the lead on the ground there. I'm going to back up over this way. No, I didn't ask you to move yet. Now, this can actually be a little bit of a problem too sometimes because she leads so well. I got to be very careful with the lead because sometimes she'll just come to the lead because it's like very similar to leading and she doesn't know the difference. So sometimes this kind of stuff, it's real tricky, and maybe I'll show you how you can stop the horse from advancing on you too if it wants to follow the lead when you're not asking it to move. Because again, this goes back to what I was talking about yesterday, is you want the horse to do what you want it to do, not what it wants to do. Okay? So I think I'm just going to take one more step back here without pulling on the lead. But I want to be able to, so I'm going to get my hand far enough down it. See me lead? No, I didn't ask you to move yet. Okay, come. 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 Good girl. See, she's getting better. You see how little pressure I put on the lead? Let's see if we can do this again. Hey, come. Come. Good girl. This has worked much better with other horses, but it will work. It just takes time. It's like anything. And like I said before, every horse has strengths and weaknesses. This is not her strong suit. Oh, I didn't ask. Now, she's moving ahead and I don't want her to, so I'm going to stop her. This is something you can do too, is just give that lead a wiggle. You don't have to do it hard. This is how some people back up horses. I don't like doing that because it tends to make them throw their head up. And you don't want the horse's head up high when it's backing up. That's not a good thing. But I will occasionally employ something like this just to stop the horse from advancing when I don't want it to. But occasionally, I actually want it to. I'm going to do that again. Actually, I'm going to move my hand down the rope here. Come. Come. Good girl. Good girl. Well, I think I'd like her a little closer yet. Let's try this one more time. Come. Good girl. There we go. And again, I didn't have to use the lead. And each time we do this, if we do it often enough, it's going to get better, and pretty soon you won't have to use the lead at all for that. You'll just, and eventually, all you're going to have to do is use the hand gesture and just do the come hither thing, and the horse will come. And that is kind of what our goal is eventually. We want to achieve that. But it's going to take a while, okay? It's not going to happen anytime soon. So, I got a chuckle because there's another little baby about the same age as this one, just outside the fence, laying down. Oh, I see what she's doing. She's laying down so she can get her nose underneath the fence and lick that salt block. Apparently she likes it too. Oh well. Anyhow, I think I'm going to call it on this one. But I have shown you a couple things. We managed to pick up the front feet again, and we picked up the back ones for the first time, and she did very, very well. In fact, we picked them up twice. Twice? No, picked up the front ones twice, just the back ones just once. That's what it was. I don't know. Doesn't matter. We're going to do them a few more times, quite a few more times actually, before we get to the point of trimming her. But by that point, she's going to be so good with her feet, it's not going to be much of an issue. And that's kind of what we're shooting for. And, you know, a lot of people get excited about that stuff. Like I said, I think I mentioned it previously, when it comes to the feet. If they get a new horse that hasn't been trimmed for a while, they'll even go so far as having it sedated so that it can be trimmed. And that's just ridiculous. It's not only a bad idea to have a horse sedated for a number of reasons, but totally unnecessary. I have obtained a couple of my own horses were 4 years old and had never had their feet picked up, ever. And they survived just fine. You know, 4 years, and this one's not even a year old. So does she need a trim? Yeah, she needs a trim. But I'm not going to get all upset about it because she's not going to die. You know, she's going to do okay. She's going to be fine. It's not going to kill her to not get trimmed right away, really. And like I said, I've had two of my own horses were 4 years old when I got them and had never even had their feet pick up. So they survived for 4 years, and I certainly am not going to, if they can survive that long, they can go a couple of weeks longer. And in the case of this one, she's not even a year old yet, so in spite of the fact that she has not had a trim, you know, I'm not too worried about it because, yes, your head's in my way now. Yes, you're a sweet horse. In spite of the fact that she has not had a trim yet, just a matter of time, and we'll get to it. And in the meantime, it's, you know, would it be nice if we could trim her right away? Yeah, it'd be nice, but that's not the world we live in right now. That's not the current situation. So, for now, guess what? She ain't getting trimmed. And we're going to keep working on things. And eventually, probably not too long from now, we are going to be trimming her. And it really, in spite of the number of videos you're seeing, it really hasn't been that long. I was, last night when I was editing my one that I did yesterday, I do 2 every weekend, one on Saturday, one on Sunday. And I've gotten up to, this will be part 12. And I started thinking, wow, that's an awful lot of videos. But then I started thinking, if you do 2 a week, that's only 6 weeks. Okay, we actually had 1 week off because of the blizzard, so it's been 7 weeks, but we've actually only worked with the horse for 6 weeks and only on weekends. That's it. 6 weeks on weekends only, which is 12 days, not even 2 weeks. This is the progress we've made. Okay? And this is what you can do. If you take your time, do it right, you can do this too. Because I'm nobody special. If I can do it, you can do it. Have a good day.